Wow. Wow. Okay, let's jump onto I think 2019 Panama City. I'm keen to learn more about this one, and I know that this is one that you got footage of and photos and stuff. So you're able to sort of talk us through that case,
Yep, yep, I certainly
what happened
can.
there?
I so I started doing a little bit of speaking, public speaking, and I was asked to do public speaking um, down in Panama City Beach area. They had a facility nearby, Florida State University, and I had gone down there for that. And so I was I was down there for a couple of days. I was staying. They put me up in a nice hotel and it's right on the beach. And I was one on this particular day. The I was going to do a presentation that evening. So in the day, I'm just kind of relaxed. I'm exercising. I'm doing push-ups on the balcony, and I look out and I catch a glimpse of a very distinct bright object, and it was coming in. It was going in and out, not out of my sight. Just the light itself was bright, then not bright. So I looked at it for a second, and my curiosity was like, "Is that an airplane?" And then I was like, quickly in my mind, I said, no, it can't be an airplane. It's hovering there somehow. It's stationary. An airplane that we know as an airplane would have to be moving. And then I thought, well, it must be a helicopter. And I looked at it for a few more minutes, and I just could see there was some kind of movement to it. And it was the light, the brightness, the intensity was bright and low. And I thought, no, it doesn't look like a helicopter either. I said, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to take some pictures. So I grabbed my phone and I took about 30 pictures of it, a little bit of video. And then I put that down because I had another camera, but I took those initially because I said, well, I want to take it now, I can see it because when I go to get my other camera, it may be gone. So I went and I grabbed my other camera, which was fairly new. It was a Sony A6000, had a 210 millimeter lens, which was, I guess, in the camera world of zooming in on things, it wasn't, you know, really massive, but it did have quite a bit to it, as it turns out. So I started taking pictures, and I wasn't switched on to think I'm looking at something that's amazingly weird. So I didn't focus on it completely. In my mind, I still was rehearsing a little bit, thinking over for my speaking gig that night. And I was also continuing to do push ups. And so I would do a set of push ups. Then I would look up and say, whoa, it's still there. Take some more pictures. Took more pictures, did more push ups, took more pictures, did more push ups. So I did this for about an hour. And I was rehearsing, and every time I looked back up, it was still there. And I said, well, getting into the afternoon, I'm gonna have to leave. So I'm gonna have to take a shower. And I took a shower. I got out and oh, it's still there. So I took a few more pictures. And I guess during that time period, I remember one time I remember thinking, I wonder if it knows I'm looking at it, whatever it is, something that was like, I wonder if this knows I'm looking at it. I still wasn't switched on to think, oh, this is some amazing unidentified object that I got to capture on film for historical purposes. But right after that, the object seemed to get a little bit closer to me when I had that thought. And then I went back to my push-ups and taking pictures. And then later, when I was thinking that I got to leave, I hope this thing does something or hurry up and leave. Because I don't feel bad about not taking pictures. And that was about the same time when it left. And so that night, I went in to, there was some other military people there, some officers, colonel, lieutenant colonels. And asked them, I said, hey, you guys see anything? Any reports of UFOs? And no, nobody had any reports of UFOs or anything. And so I didn't say anything more about it. But from my vantage point, when I was taking those pictures, I was on the 22nd floor of this hotel. And I was looking around on the ground to see if anybody was down there looking up at it. And there was a lot of people that were on the beach and around the pool. They were playing volleyball and whatever games they were playing, but nobody was looking up in the air. So I thought, well, I guess it's just me. I'll take these pictures. And so that's what I did. And then I didn't think a lot more about it after that night. About 2 weeks later, I downloaded the cameras or the pictures from the camera to my laptop and started zooming in and looking at them. And then it was like, what the F is this? Oh man, this is, I don't know what it is, but it was really weird. So I started wondering what is this? Have I captured a super top secret project? And if so, I don't want to share it to the world if it's, a top secret project. I was military, had top secret clearances. I feel like I'm a patriot. I don't want to let these secrets out if it's something I captured. And so I talked to a friend that was active duty, told him what I had, because I didn't know anything about a reporting system. I didn't know anything about a Pentagon UFO unit. That I didn't know anything about MUFON or any of this stuff. And so they said, well, send us the pictures, send me the pictures, and I'll get somebody to look at them, an analyst, a trained analyst. And so they did. I did, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, they said, well, the person that looked at them said they didn't know what it is, and they're going to send the pictures to another organization that has a better capability to analyze things. I said, great, because I'm excited. I want to, okay, what is it? Tell me what it is. I want to know. And I didn't ask what unit it was. I was like, okay, another unit. Okay. They never told me what unit. I never asked who the analyst was, anything. And again, about 3 weeks later, I'm like, what'd they say? What'd they say? And they came back. So finally, they said, well, they said it's a weather balloon and your camera has an anomaly. And I was like, oh man, that story's is the same thing that they've been saying since 50, 60, 70 years. You hear weather balloon from you know Roswell. So I said to myself, I said, well, I don't believe it, and I don't know what my next step was going to be, but I thought, well, I'm going to put a report out. I'm going to put them in a book, self-publish a book with them. That's what they say. It's a weather balloon. So I did a couple of things. I reached out to a few different people. The pictures really are hard to believe that it's actual real. I did talk to a couple of people. One guy, Blumenthal, we shared a couple emails, but there really was nothing more than me saying this. It wasn't something he really wanted to get into, I guess, at that point. Talked to the only person that answered me back, like I said, was Nick Pope, and he said he didn't know what they were. And I said, well, I'm going to put them in a book. And he said, well, that's good. Maybe it'll create some interest, and somebody that knows something about it will come out of the woodwork or something to that effect, he said. So he also said that I should submit a report to MUFON. So I looked up that, and eventually, at the same time, I think I also was, TTSA was big in the news at that time. And I thought, well, they got to be the unit to send these things to. So I sent them a couple emails, and they told me they didn't want the pictures. They weren't ready to take pictures. They were trying to build a base where people could submit things, but at that point they didn't have it ready for that. But I could invest if I wanted to. So I said, all right, thanks. And then I went to the NUFOC, I think, new UFO organization. So I submitted a report with them, and I submitted a report with MUFON. So again, MUFON assigned Sabrina Robb to the case. She was ex-Air Force security forces, and then a launch control officer on the nukes. And so she contacted me. We talked about it. I met her, showed her pictures, showed her video, and she was like, I believe you 100%. It's unusual, it's real. And so she sent pictures to an individual to have them analyzed, because she didn't, she didn't like take my word for it. She's going to make sure the pictures are real. And this person she sent them to was a prior military, prior Army. I was a pilot. I don't know if he did what else he did as far as intel or anything, but he was a pilot. And then she also had sent a couple pictures to Lou, who contacted her wanting to know about them. And I don't know whatever happened with that. She also introduced me to Rich Hoffman with SCU, who we communicated back and forth. I sent him pictures. He was going to analyze them. He sent me emails, told me he was sorting through them based on the metadata. And he actually sent me an email one time with a picture of the hotel I was in and asked me to identify the room and the angle and the direction I was looking. And we discussed that on the phone, and then he just stopped talking to me. And he stopped talking to Sabrina. So I don't know what happened there. I always thought that, well, maybe he found something he's not allowed to talk about, and that's why he shut down communications. I haven't talked to him to this day. So that was 2019. And so then after that, I just said, well, can submit a report to these organizations. They don't go anywhere. They go into a folder of archives, and nobody ever hears from them again. So I'm gonna self-publish a book with these pictures in them and my story, my report. And believe it or not, and it's out there. That's my report. And that book that you have is the first one. That's the volume 1. I published that one in, I think, August of 2020. And then after the book came out, the individual that Sabrina had introduced me to from the Army, he asked me if he could look at the pictures and use whatever software to enhance them. He said, this is the software. He said, I'm not changing the pictures. I'm just enhancing them the same. He said, his words were, it's the same software the FBI uses to enhance evidence. And so he did that with the pictures, and they're much clearer. I posted many of them on my X account. And I also put them together in another book, volume 2. And this one is a much bigger hardback with the pictures, which made it more expensive. I don't make money on that. The publishers and the distributors do. I make just over $1 on a book if it sells, but so I'm not getting rich on them. But it is my report, and it's not archived in a round file somewhere that nobody will ever see again.
Yeah. This is just for people listening, watching in. This is not a balloon, Scott. I was talking to Tom about this earlier on, and obviously we've passed it over to Peter Osborne to have a look at and do some enhancements as well. And he's done a few bits and pieces, still working on it. We're hoping to put something out over the next couple of days with the other bits and pieces. He's still got some stuff that renders. Like one of the images was like a gigabyte or gigabyte and a half or something just for one TIFF image. Ridiculous. Huge files, but fascinating stuff. So just to sort of rewind slightly, you mentioned Lou, just for the people listening, that's Lou Elizondo. Am I right in thinking that had sort of got sight to this previously? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sabrina is friends with Lou.
Okay, cool.
I spoke to him on the phone, and we've never met.
Okay, got you. And so when you sent it, when they said they sent it off to a sort of team, I guess around that sort of time, we're probably looking at ATIP winding down, UAP task force winding up, maybe. So it could have been potentially that team, but as you say, you're not sure. What sort of speeds were we talking? So we've got obviously we've got some images on the screen for people to have a look at this. When you spotted it, so it was remaining still for quite a while, and then when you said it sort of left, did it shoot off? Was it at speed?
Um, yeah, so this when I saw it, and it remained pretty much stationary in that section of the sky. I mean, it was moving around, and it was so odd. You can see in the still pictures how it progresses. You can see it on the video, but it's not quite as clear. But you can see how the light is a low intensity and it changes areas and it changes colors, and the intensity kind of takes over the whole object, and then it disappears. And then it returns very quickly, quicker than a second, into another shape. And so it wasn't really massive speeds that are so out of, Mach 100 or whatever. It was just stationary up there. And, but the speed seemed to be in that circular itself. It seemed to be, the speed was just the way it would spin, seemed to be just incredible speed. And then when it kind of left, it seemed like it was just getting further and further to a point, and then it was gone. It didn't appear to be like it was just a massive speed like the other event in 2004 that just boom, it was gone. This one just got to a point and then it was gone. So I don't know what kind of speed that was. That's mind speed. That's a thought. Boom, it's gone.